Right. We are live. What up, D?
Eh,
How's shit going on your end?
my aunt passed away yesterday. I had to take my dad to the airport Friday. I got to pick him back up Tuesday. And yeah,
Yeah, I feel you.
I ended up blocking homeboy because he kept going. And now he still keeps messaging me. I can read the blocked messages,
Yeah.
apologizing, but I'm not reopening the door.
Yeah, no, dude.
He already apologized to other people and then did the same thing. So I'm not nobody's fucking doormat. So I'm excited for this meeting topic.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
give you a second chance, and when you fail, then you know what? Fuck you.
Oh,
Not my problem.
this one's so fucking long. Like, that's the thing.
What song is it going off of?
This is going off of Fuck My Dad, off of Forgotten Freshness. It's basically an ode to how much of a.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that song now because I read the title and I wasn't even thinking about Forgotten Freshness because that's the one Jay wrote about his dad.
Yeah, Rob's on there too.
Mm.
And it's a really cool song, but the whole reason for it is one of the teenagers is staying with me again because of shitty home life that's happening right now. They needed that escape from that toxicity, so why not
Okay,
actually
that's good.
talk about it? Because
That,
while we are well versed in it, we're used to this.
that's why I was a street kid.
Yeah,
That's why I ran the street, man.
yeah, like
That's
we
exactly why
already.
I did a lot of the shit that I did. Just because the home life was fucking terrible. That dad was either fucked up or absent.
Yeah,
Uh,
like we know how to handle this shit. Not everybody else does. You know, we're
you
well
know,
versed in it, so it's important for us to share that when the time comes.
the longer I stay sober, the easier it is to deal with it
Yeah, I know.
and spot it, cut it out. You know.
Yeah. So basically, the topic is just gonna be what the toxic things are, how to deal with it, and like we're gonna talk about arguing, gaslighting, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of that was going on here recently. I don't put up with that shit either. Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna kill yourself? It's just like that fucking Violent J skit. Go do it in the fucking garage.
Right.
So it's easy for the motherfucker to clean it up.
Yeah. Exactly. So you know what? It'll be fine. We'll make this work just like everything else.
And that pity party shit. Fucking way over. I don't know, man. I'm just burnt out on every level. So I'm, I need this tonight.
Yeah, believe me, I'm with you on that. I'm exhausted. This caregiver shit gets to be a lot, so I'm with it.
Even my boss was like, "You do too much, bro. Like you're always burning at both ends, bro." He's like, "You're just like, when do you do you?" And I'm like, "Not a lot. Balance is hard." He's like, "Yeah, I know. I see. Like you're probably one of the most dedicated people to like your jobs and helping other people, but like you got to chill." And I'm like, "I try to, and every time I find balance, not too long later, I get out of balance.
Exactly. It's
I don't
just
know how to get through my days, but God, you know what I mean? I just wake up, suit up, and handle shit."
yeah. It is the way it goes.
I think every year I go through this burnout phase, though. It's a yearly endeavor.
Yeah, and I
What the
feel it.
fuck's wrong with Josie?
I'm an alien.
Yes.
Hey, Jesse, Chris made this topic for you and me and the teenagers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good one. So it's all about toxic people, gaslighting, and how to deal with toxic people in arguments.
Oh boy.
I know. So it hits every
Gaslighting. Like when
single topic. Are you familiar with gaslighting, Scarecrow?
Yeah, I think people are gaslighting me all the fucking time because they love fucking with the crazy kid. It's always fun to fuck with the crazy kid until he goes Columbine.
Exactly.
But yeah, I get gaslit all the fucking time. I'm sure of it. Then again, I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, so I'm not closed minded to the fact that this isn't just some paranoid delusion.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point. They try to make you feel delusional, and that's gaslighting.
Yep.
But fuck with you, make you think you're even crazier than you are.
Yep. Yep. That's the way it goes. I,
It's been a rough one, man.
I feel it.
Uh,
I feel like all of us have been going through it here recently.
got $400 saved for the gathering so far.
Fuck
Get another
yeah.
500 saved next month.
Man.
I told my birthday is on the 28th, so I told my family I'm going to the gathering. If I could just get like some checks or cash or whatever, man, helps. I think my dad's sending me 100 and my sister's sending me 50. So then there's another 150 for the fucking gathering. I'm working on it.
Yeah. You know what? In all reality, I haven't put back any money for the gathering.
Me
And
neither.
brother, my brother and I are supposed to be going together.
Oh, good
It's
shit.
been a long time since he's been to a gathering.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, but the gathering updated their map, and we're on it this year. So you'll be able to find us real easy.
Nice.
I see. Yeah, it's right where through that cut through trail is into those bat campgrounds, huh?
Yeah.
That little corner right there.
Yeah, we should be able to be right there where the spotlights are, like right at that entranceway where the security's normally set up. So we can just
Yeah.
we can steal power right there.
I was trying to think of what was set up there last year, but I couldn't remember what it was that was set up.
Yeah, like almost every single year they've got generators with the giant spotlights set up right there, so it's perfect for us to just jack the power to run all of our shit. Because all we really
Hmm.
need is power to run the refrigerators so we can have our cold drinks and our hot coffee. And I'm good with that.
And family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Uh, we all need to get together to go over because I don't know if we got any more details of what all's going on.
Uh,
I know everybody's shit's been crazy, so sometime.
yeah, I haven't been able to do much of anything.
I know it's we've all been going through it. I know.
Yeah. No. I'm doing the best that I can to stay up to date and just stay on meetings.
House talks.
Uh, Up and down. We spent all of Saturday or Sunday in the ER trying to get everything managed. So now it's just trying to get used to the medication routine, and then Friday we're gonna have physical therapists in to be going through all of the rehab process, and then we still have another 5 to 7 weeks before we'll have any real mobility, and that'll be exactly gathering time. Yeah. So, as of right now, like he's able to move around, but he's on the walker. Can't move around for more than 10 minutes at a time as of right now, and can't lift anything. Can't bend over. So, yeah,
Doing
hopefully this gets
PT.
a lot better.
Doing PT.
That'll start end of this week. We got
Good shit.
we got physical therapists coming in and occupational therapists. So
And
PTOT.
follow the PT's order. Follow the PT's orders, and I'll go good.
Yeah, I know it. I've had so many surgeries at this point. I'm used to it. This is just his first rodeo, and it's a big one. What up, Wicked Spaz? Monster?
Yo, what's up, man?
Monster, why are you not an alien?
Oh yeah, I forgot we totally discussed that. We were gonna all do alien filters to mess with you when we showed up.
Dope.
Because all of us would show up
Uh,
as aliens, and you'd be the
to
only one
celebrate
without.
the Wicked Clowns in Outer Space Gathering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I forgot about
Dude,
that.
my brother and I bought tickets for the Wicked Killer Clowns from Outer Space tour. They were going to come to Santa Cruz all the way on the West Coast, and then COVID fucking hit. We never got refunded that $30 for those tickets.
Damn.
But now that they said that this is going to be the Wicked Clowns from Outer Space fucking gathering, I'm like, okay, this is the one my brother and I are making it to. That's the carnival right there. Fucking synchronicity.
Yeah.
We're getting
Right.
to this one.
That's
Just
gonna
like I
be
knew the
good.
last one, the one I went to, it was opened by Steve-O, and the only other concert I'd ever been to was the Steve-O Don't Do This at Home tour. Long, long time ago. And so when I seen he was opening for ICP, I knew 2 years ago, like, nope, that fucking, it's faded. I'm making it to this gathering.
Was that the one that
It's
got
still,
canceled? The one in 17 or 16 or something?
Oh. Oh, it's
no,
Mr.
it was two
Sober
years ago.
Wagon, not in a wagon.
21. 21, it was 2 years ago.
I also bought tickets to some Wicked Clowns in Outer Space show that got canceled. I wonder if that's the one.
Oh yeah, that's the same one. I'm pretty sure that got canceled when COVID hit. We were gonna hit it in Santa Cruz because my brother and I live in California.
Ah,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I got
Yeah,
refunded for that
everything,
either.
every dude, and fucking Ouija Mac, the motherfucker is from Nevada, and he decides to do Juggalo, Ohio. Like I already got to drive all the way across the country just to get to the gathering, dude. You're like fucking a 2 hour drive from me in Nevada. Just go fucking throw something in Nevada, juggle Nevada or fucking some shit. I don't fucking know.
No.
Everything's always on the East Coast, and we're so fucking far away. It's hard to get to the East Coast.
Well,
What?
And there's no Fago over here.
you just have to remember their demographic, their main target audience is mid East Coast.
Detroit.
No, because
Yeah.
Detroit is oversaturated with too many other music scenes. Their main demographic is Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia. That's where their largest
Yeah.
populations are. And then it grows until you hit about Alabama. And then you've got dead space all throughout the middle of the country. And then you've got pockets in the West Coast. You
That
also have to
explains a lot
remember.
because they never hit Boston or Maryland, but they always come like the closest is Pennsylvania or Virginia and then back a loop.
Yep. So you usually end up at the Norva or the Electric Factory or the TLA out in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because I went to one of those and it was pretty nuts. I took a friend who had never seen ICP before, but he was talking mad shit.
Yeah.
And he got so wasted he hated it and he just left in the middle of the show. And I remember being like, why, bro? I paid for your ticket and everything. I wanted you to see how awesome it was. And it was like one of the Halloween Wicked shows where they had like the cemetery and the coffins full of Fago. And
Dope.
he just bitched out for some reason and left. And it was like, this is so stupid. He didn't even give it a chance. And I was so salty.
Oh, dude, what a bitch. Shit
How do
Yeah,
happens.
right.
But
Right, dude.
it is that time to start the recording and for you guys all to shut the fuck up for a few minutes.
Fuck off.
That's right. All right, here we go. So tonight we're talking about the song "Fuck Your Dad" off of the Forgotten Freshness albums, and the topic
Fuck
really
my
is
dad or fuck you.
"Fuck My Dad." So
All right.
it's all going to be about toxic relationships and some of the issues that come inside of toxic relationships. So human relationships are an essential part of life. They can help us grow, learn, and experience different perspectives. However, sometimes relationships can turn sour and become toxic. When this happens, it may be necessary to cut out the toxic people from your life. This can be a difficult decision, but ultimately, it is a healthy and necessary one for your own well being. Toxic people can be emotionally draining and they have a negative impact on your mental health. They may be controlling, manipulative, critical, and unsupportive. They may take advantage of your kindness, belittle your accomplishments, and make you feel guilty for setting your own boundaries. Toxic people may also be judgmental, gossipy, and spread negativity wherever they go, Over time, their behavior can wear you down and make you feel miserable and depressed. Cutting out these toxic people from your life is not easy, but it is often the right decision. It may be hard to let go of people you care about, but it is essential to prioritize your own well being over trying to please people that are just ultimately bad for you. When you surround yourself with negative people, you're more likely to feel stressed, anxious, and depressed. These feelings can have a really bad impact on your physical health and prevent you from really being okay long term. When you cut out toxic people from your life, you create a space for positive relationships to flourish. You can surround yourself with people who actually support you and encourage you, who lift you up instead of tearing you down. These relationships can help you grow and thrive both personally and professionally. They can also give you the energy and motivation you need to pursue your goals and dreams. Cutting out toxic people from your life may also help you develop a stronger boundary when you're dealing with new people. When you set boundaries with toxic people, you send a message that you value your own well being and will not tolerate their abuse. This can be a powerful tool in building healthy relationships as it establishes mutual respect and trust by telling them this is where this stops and this is where I'm okay to take it up to. And then now we're going to get into different types of like toxic behaviors. Gaslighting is probably one of the ones that most of us are the most familiar with. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic used to uh, distort reality, to make others question their own perceptions and memories. Gaslighting can have a profound impact on your mental health and your overall well being, and it is essential to recognize when it's happening and take steps to protect yourself. In this, we're going to talk about uh, how gaslighting happens and how you can identify it and how you can try to stop it. So, gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse in which a person manipulates someone into questioning their own perception and memories. The gaslighter may deny certain events or facts, twist the truth, or make the victim feel as though they are going crazy. Gaslighting can occur in many different contexts, including personal relationships, the workplace, and in some forms of politics. The effects of gaslighting can be severe and long lasting. Victims from gaslighting may experience anxiety, depression, low self esteem, and a loss of trust in their own perception and memories. Gaslighting can also lead to feelings of isolation
Check,
as
check,
the
check.
victims may feel as though they are the only ones who can see the truth. In some cases, gaslighting can also lead to a loss of self identity and a feeling of being disconnected from what is reality. Dealing with those types of toxic people who are gaslighting uh, can be challenging, but there are steps you can take to protect yourself. Firstly, it is essential to recognize when somebody is gaslighting you. Trust your instincts and your own perceptions, and do not let those people make you question your own reality. And on the second hand, seek support from others who can help you and people that can see the truth. This can include friends, family, or a therapist who can provide you objective perspective and help you regain your sense of self. And then for the third one, set boundaries with people that are gaslighting you and communicate clearly. Let them know that their behavior is not acceptable and that you will not tolerate it. Be specific about your consequences if they continue to gaslight you. Setting those boundaries can help you protect yourself and prevent gaslighting from continuing. And then it may also be necessary to remove yourself from that situation entirely. If the gaslighting is going to continue, you may just decide that it's best to completely exit the situation. This can be really challenging if the gaslighter is someone you care about, such as a family member, a friend, a spouse. However, it is essential to prioritize your own well being and mental health. If the gaslighter is unwilling to change their behavior, it may be necessary to fully cut ties with them. Toxic people can be kind of a big issue. They may be like your main source of stress and conflict. It can be especially challenging when they are arguing with you on a constant, especially if they happen to be your own family. When confronted with those situations, it's essential to take steps to make sure your mental well being is taken care of. You know, arguing with people can wear you down, can really stress out your emotions, especially when it feels so unprovoked or really personal. So, we're also going to discuss some of the strategies on how we deal with those types of toxic people if they're constantly wearing you down by trying to argue with you. So, firstly, it's important to stay calm and composed in the face of a conflict. A lot of people are quick to fly off the handle, respond to anger with more anger, or respond to arguments with more arguments. When toxic people are arguing, it's easy to become overwhelmed by their emotions and react impulsively. However, responding with anger or frustration will only escalate the situation and make it more difficult to resolve. Instead, try to remain calm and centered, even if the other person is not. Try to understand the other person's perspective. While their behavior may be unacceptable, fully toxic, it may be helpful to try to understand where the other person is coming from. This does not mean that you have to agree with their behavior or condone it, but it may help you to identify the underlying issues to try to find a way to resolve the conflict without it turning into more arguments. Set your boundaries, communicate with them. Those people may not respect your boundaries, but it is essential to establish them anyway. Let the other people know what behavior is acceptable and what is not, and be clear about what consequences will happen when they violate those boundaries. Setting those boundaries helps you to protect yourself and helps to protect you mentally by establishing a line that they've crossed. When you've noticed that people are starting to cross the line, inform them. And when they continue to not respect your lines, communicate with them. Seek support from your friends, from family, professional, whatever you decide to do. Now, while it can be challenging to constantly remind these people that they're doing these things that are crossing your boundaries, it's necessary. It's emotionally draining, especially if it's happening in your own family. If you're struggling to cope, reach out to your friends, your family, your therapist, whoever you have as your support network. That kind of includes us all here if that's a thing that you're going through. You have to have a safe space to express yourself when you feel like you're constantly being attacked. Now, also remember that you have the right to remove those people from your life if that's what it takes for you to get a sense of peace in your own life. While it may be difficult to cut ties with family, sometimes you kind of have to for your own mental and emotional health. You are somebody who deserves to be surrounded with people who actually support you. Whether or not you may recognize it in the moment, you still deserve support as much as anybody else. But cutting out toxic people from your life, it's difficult. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you just have to deal with all of the bullshit that comes along with it. Sometimes you have to deal with arguments. Sometimes there is going to be gaslighting. Sometimes you are going to question whether or not you're mentally sound because of all of the bullshit you've had to deal with. But in the end, if you don't reach out to your support system, you're going to continue to deal with those same situations. And if you never choose to cut out these people that are constantly doing it, and you're not establishing those boundaries, you're still going to continue to deal with it. And with that, I'm going to open it up to the room and see if anybody has anything to comment on this one.
Yeah. And on the comment of toxic people, my brother and I, and he's like my favorite person in the world, but when we drink, man, I think we're just naturally assholes. Our dad was a real big asshole. Our family's a bunch of assholes. It just kind of runs in our blood. But me
Yeah.
and my brother work really hard to not be assholes, and we do pretty good at it. When we drink, I guess we don't do that work, and we're just total assholes.
Yeah.
And it becomes that toxic, you know. I fuck. I'm scared. I think he started drinking again today, and it kind of made me think about drinking. I don't want to drink yet. He had a few days ahead of me, but he's who I'm going to the gathering with. And when he drinks, man, we just fight all the time over stupid shit. And just kind of, yeah,
Now,
I don't
let's
know. I'm
let
scared.
let's
I'm
say
scared.
you get into that situation. How how do you communicate to your brother that you don't find that as an acceptable thing?
I don't, because there's no communicating with him when he's in these states. I wait till he's sober and then we talk.
All right, D, you got some
We'll
shit
have
to
our
say?
talks when he's sober, but there is no talking when he's drunk.
Right.
Same with me though. So, no judgment. We all go through it.
Yeah, but at some point you've got to establish that boundary. Like if he's going to drink, he has to drink by himself or at least not around you. D, you got some
Yeah.
shit to say? Let's hear what you got to say.
I missed, like half of it because I'm at work, but I caught the latter half, sporadic and half. But I can see both sides of the coin because I've been the toxic person when I was heavy in my alcohol addiction, how like Anthony was saying, and I had a lot of people, set their
We all go
boundaries, I'd
through it.
push them, and then I'd get cut out of, people's lives. And the thing is, like, when I was out there, I had no respect for myself. So how was I going to respect anybody else, man? I was in such a blank spot in my life, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even care about my own life, my own body. All I want to do is get high and get drunk, right? So how could I have a healthy relationship or respect somebody else's feelings, opinions, whatever? I would say
Yeah,
things just to fight with people, you know what I mean?
right.
But then getting
Yeah.
sober and working in a field with alcoholics and addicts and stuff, like, I try to be the patient one. I try to be the understanding one. I'll open doors, but like something that was instilled in me early in my recovery was like, I'm not going to let somebody else walk all over me. I'm not going to let a job make me miserable. I'm not going to let people in my life make me miserable. If I spent my whole life not caring about myself, now that I actually do find some sort of self worth and value in my life, like I'm not the one that's going to tolerate somebody who's disturbing my little bit of happiness or my inner peace or whatever I got going on. If it's something that's an ongoing issue like that, it's like a waste of my time, which is very minute. You know what I mean? I only have one life to live. We all do. It's too short to be fighting and arguing and yelling and doing all this. Like, if a person doesn't sincerely want my help or want me to be in their lives or want something good out of a relationship, then they're not the right people for me. You know what I mean? So I try to surround myself with the more positive people, the people that can joke and play and have a levity to life, even though it's deadly serious sometimes what we talk about.
Yeah,
And I try to surround myself with people that are motivated to do better things, that want to see me do better things. Like, I'm totally sympathetic to a newcomer or somebody trying to change your life, but at the same time, if you're not serious, fool me once, okay, fool me
yeah.
twice, no.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Like, there's other people that I'm wasting that opportunity on if I keep going in a circle with somebody. And
Right.
like, family was the roughest. All my family, it was toxic relationships. Alcoholic addict father, alcoholic addict brother, me alcoholic addict. And the good part about a lot of us getting into sobriety was to mend those toxic relationships and turn them into healthier ones. Which was hard to do. It took time.
I appreciate that perspective too. I feel like at some point we've all been toxic people at one point or another. Josie, you got some shit to say?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice seeing
I
all
would.
y'all, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, nice seeing you there, interrupting one. Of course. Anyways, I would say this is an interesting one, but yeah, I don't talk to my cousin still because he's a douche and he's toxic to me at times. Like I love him, but I can't talk to him. But on a positive note with setting boundaries and not and basically getting over shit, I had a conversation with my mom today. And guess what it led to? Your favorite topic. Teeth.
Oh.
Yep. The kids went to the dentist. Lotus has one baby tooth left, and Michael's teeth, even though he had a pacifier, are all good.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Now give me your kid's teeth.
I I
Oh
forgot
my
about your
god.
creepy tooth fetish.
I like teeth. Teeth are nifty. There's nothing wrong with wanting teeth.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
no, wrong is a strong word, I suppose.
Jace, I love
Weird.
those too. Those are dope. I turn it into a lamp.
What do
Look
you
at
do
that
with the
shit.
teeth? Are you gonna make chainmail? Like a chainmail suit out of teeth? Be pretty dope.
That'd be amazing. Ideally, I just want at least a necklace. Fuck having all them pearl necklaces. Give me one made out of teeth. That'd be so much doper.
You want
Yeah.
to make a teeth necklace. What are you going to try to collect as many people's teeth as you can for this necklace? Is that your
My
plan
mom
now?
Yes.
my mom had a
Why
jar.
Okay.
not,
We had
man?
5 kids with all of our teeth in it. It had fucking a good amount of teeth in that jar.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Our
You gotta find someone with a lot of kids.
our resident
Diamonds are
cannibal has a
overrated, man.
mason jar full of teeth.
There you go.
Yeah. What you got, T?
So the one thing I forgot to touch on though, right? Because I brought up like my family and mending those relationships, right? And I've had a lot of people from back in the day where we're both toxic, right? Like people do change over time, and sometimes opening that second door to mend those relationships isn't easy, but sometimes it's like worth it. You know what I mean? And it's that age old saying, actions speak louder than words. You ain't spoke to somebody in 10 years, but you see what they're doing in their life when you talk to them. Like you can see the difference in them. And I've had people give me third, fourth chances. You know what I mean? But it took a lot of time and a lot of action behind it. And I think sometimes that's a sign of growth when you can open that door and swallow your resentments and your ego or whatever it has, and maybe like that relationship's kind of like meant to come back, or like those family relationships do become healthy, but it takes willing participants on both sides of it.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be able to swallow your pride to try to mend a relationship, whether you've been toxic or somebody else has been, if that's a relationship you want to try to repair. A lot of the times, things have been said that make it to the point where you don't want to be around that person. And that's okay too. Spaz, you got some shit to say?
Yeah. Great topic, to say the least. I think that that's a good point to make is that I believe that anyone can be toxic at any given time if we're unconscious of how we are reacting or, interacting with certain people. And there are toxic people all around. And in my own practice and my own recovery, realizing that somebody was being toxic, therefore I had to learn how to develop healthy boundaries around certain people. And like I said, I truly believe that anyone can be toxic if they become unconscious of their own, reactivity or something along that line. And within that, it's a good practice to have healthy boundaries and then be like the other individual was saying, he doesn't know how to communicate or he has to wait, which is a good thing. Sometimes pausing until they're in a more conscious state in order to address these situations. Sometimes in my practice, I know that addressing the situation when it happens and then being like, hey, I don't appreciate what's going on. We can talk about it later if you're up to that, seeing if people can hold healthy space. Um, and also like being like, if they're willing to talk about it. I know that in my own practice, I'm like, hey, I don't appreciate what was said. What did you mean by that? And then also communicating your perspective, being like, I feel like we were talking about gaslighting. You're like, I feel like that you are quote unquote gaslighting me. And I don't necessarily like to use that gaslighting term as much because it's such like a hot, it's like a buzzword, and people are very, prejudiced against it. So what I like to do is like try to use more descriptive words and be like, hey, I don't feel supported by your statement. I feel like you are, maybe condemning how I'm feeling or invalidating my experience, my emotions. Um, can we talk about this? So it's a good practice for one, healthy boundaries. Well, first and foremost, being self-aware. If you're self-aware of how you're interacting with people and how your reactivity and action, or if you're interacting from your frontal lobe and being conscious of how you're speaking, how you're viewing things, how your thought process is perceiving things, that's hands down one of the best things that you can do for your own self, and being able to deter what is, gaslighting, or what is being said, or what is the underlying motive of these individuals who may be perceived as toxic, what their true intention is. I try to view things from like a multiple like perspective point of view, to where it's like, if somebody's, quote unquote gaslighting me and condemning me, trying to instill self-doubt into me, I'm like, okay, let's not take this personal. This is just them projecting their inner self-doubt. And I can take that with a grain of salt. And if there is something that can be applied to my situation where they're not really like supporting me or something, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something constructive in here. And if not, then I'm going to try to negate what is, toxic, or what is condemning, or what is not progressive, not productive, and then addressing that at an appropriate time when this individual is in the right headspace to maybe hear my own, point of view, perspective, to see if they're self-conscious enough to be like, oh, oh, that's right. I could have said something a little bit better to, get my point across, because maybe they didn't necessarily believe what I was trying to, speak about or whatever. Like, in an example, if I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the gathering, and somebody's like, hey, I don't think that's smart. Don't you always spend a bunch of money going to the gathering? Don't you always like almost die trying to get there? Don't you always like blow all your money trying to get there? Those things are trying to instill self-doubt within me. And they're also probably somebody who has probably either never gone to the gathering, or, struggle with their own views about the gathering. And then me, I'm like, okay, sure. There are facts and logical rationalities in there to their argument, but at the same time, they're trying to quote unquote gaslight me into not going. When I'm like, me as a gatherer for the last 10 years, I'm like, oh, I'm going, like, no matter what, and commenting on this from outer space. My first tattoo at 17 was the psychopathics from outer space. So like that's my hatchet man, so I'm like, I'm going hands down. You know what I mean? But anywho, as long as we're aware of how we're perceiving things and how it's affecting us emotionally, physically, stuff like that, and we can properly communicate from a point of compassion for them and ourselves, then I think that all these issues and our relationships with toxic people, because it's hard to kind of cut them out of our lives, especially like the other individual that was saying, it's family. A lot of people, it's hard to just straight up cut them out. So being able to navigate those interactions and relationships with toxic people so we can have a healthy space, healthy boundary for ourselves, I think will lead by a good example, so that other individuals will usually pick up on that and then start to reform themselves into a less toxic state of interacting. But that's my own experience.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the big thing: is self-awareness is always key. If you're aware of what yourself is, you're aware of how you feel. You're aware of how you react to people. But the other thing is, especially when we're talking about gaslighting, if you've been in something where you're being gaslit on a regular basis, where people is are making you question your own reality to the point where you're not sure anymore, when you're
Right.
doubting your own self-awareness, that's when you have to rely on that support group. That's when you have to rely on others. And then that was part of the topic of tonight, is not being so much aware of self, but also relying on others to make sure you're in check as well, so you're not also the toxic individual if you're so disconnected from what is reality. But with that,
Right.
I know D's got his hand up, so let's see what he's got to say.
I just Spaz
Do you
appreciate your
know?
share, and I was just curious. Are you that ninja that works in the field that was at the gathering last year that stopped by the tent that raps?
Yeah, I mean, I rap sometimes, but no, I'm actually the spaz from Oregon that just messaged you guys about holding shaman healing practices in your tent this year.
Hey,
Oh, okay,
another West
okay,
Coast
okay.
homie.
You look kind of like this guy that stopped by the tent that was a sober rapper. I just couldn't remember his name. That's why I was asking.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I am sober and I did stop by last year, but no, I don't really rap per se, so I don't really identify as like, a rapper and whatnot.
I got
Chris,
one
you
fat
remember who
wicked
that
rap.
ninja's name was? He worked in
I don't
recovery.
remember.
He was rapping on the Misfit stage.
I know, I know. I
I'm not
can't,
sure.
I cannot remember names, man. You know my brain damage.
They look so similar. It's
Damn
ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
damage.
why I was like, I think that's that ninja.
yeah. But Rob did email us about you wanting to do that, so I'm glad we were able to get that hooked up because your perfect spot. We are on the map this year, so we should be pretty well booked. He's got our schedule, and we know what the deal is.
Yeah, I'm very excited to bring my shamanic healing to the Juggalo family.
Yeah, dude, I'm down with it.
Me too. Me too. I'm excited
Good.
about it.
I need some chakras realigned while I'm there.
There you go. Let's do it.
All right. Does anybody else have anything
Just
else
want to
they want
say,
to share on the topic before we end the recording?
Big
I just
purple
want to say
thing.
that's fucking awesome. I just want to say that's fucking awesome, Spaz. Super proud of you, dude. Yeah. And on the topic of, uh, the gaslighting and the cutting people off and dealing with all that type of shit. Like back in 2020 when I got clean and I moved to Eugene, um, that's because like I needed just like a total reset. And like I understand that it's not going to be all puppy dogs and rainbows and shit like that. But like right now in my life, dude, I just don't got time for somebody that doesn't benefit my mental health. You know, not saying that like I haven't experienced that type of shit. And it's torturous. And like I've been on both sides of it though. Like I've been that dick that takes advantage of weak-minded females. And it sucks having to like say that and shit. And I hope I'm never that person ever again. Um, but yeah, I mean, so like in the future, I know that I will encounter, those kind of scenarios. And I do hope that some of the tools that I have picked up through working the steps, I hope those things come into play and I intuitively know how to handle the scenario. But as of right now, everything's hunky dory in my fucking life.
I got one more thing to
Yeah.
say. I'm scarecrow than a chronic lunatic, and I have 141 days off booze, and I still think about drinking all the goddamn time. Always fucking thinking about drinking. But almost got 5 months now.
Hey, man.
Congratulations.
That
Thank you.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm fucking
Whoop.
proud of you, Scarecrow. I'm glad we got to go on this journey together. The truth is,
Alcohol is like the hardest thing to kick.
yeah, for me, fucking
True that.
quitting smoking was the hardest thing to quit. And then stress
Sure,
happens.
that one upset for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, fucking cocaine was easier than cigarettes.
Cocaine was easier than cigarettes. I had more trouble with alcohol than the cigarettes. I quit smoking cigarettes for like 3 months. But then when I quit drinking, I started smoking cigarettes again.
Hey man,
Oh,
we just got
the
through killing.
alcohol is readily available. It's everywhere. You can't hide from it. It's highly addictive.
Yeah.
It does more damage than almost any other drug physically.
Yeah.
It's
My
cheap.
smoking's killing me pretty bad.
Yeah, alcohol is cheap. It's readily available. You almost can't go anywhere without seeing it. It's one of the hardest things to get over from a mental
Yep.
standpoint. Because there's not a day that
yeah,
goes by that we don't think about it. That we don't have some
Yeah.
kind of memory that's associated with drinking. Because, especially for a lot of us older people, like, a lot of our best memories were when we were still fucked up. So once you can get past, I would say the first 6 months, it starts to get a little bit easier, and then once you get past that year, it gets a little bit easier. It never fully goes away. It's something that
Right.
you have to accept that it's going to be a part of you. It's part of your story. You know, it's part of your adventure through life. Was your period of time when you were fucked up. It's what you
Yeah.
do going forward that you replace those addictions. It's where you make better.
I like to think that it's a battle that every day you have a choice to overcome. And when you do, you just feel super accomplished. Like every one day, like they say in the 12 steps, one day at a time. Every single day you don't drink, you're a fucking boss. You're a beast.
Yeah, I dig that. D, you got some shit to say?
yeah. I mean, so I'm coming up on like 5 years sober. I'd say like, because I'm a hardcore alcoholic, but I'm definitely a drug addict too. But alcohol is definitely like what turns me into the monster and makes me do everything. But like 5 months is not an easy accomplishment, especially being in the mountains and the boonies and not really having like a bunch of a network around you, bro. But like I know for me, because I had a network of people and I was just always busy, I didn't really obsess like that. But I still get I call fleeting thoughts, like, and I'm almost 5 years sober, and a thought pops in my head, and I just say to myself, "You're a fucking idiot." And then, I'll be like, God, what the fuck's wrong with me? And I just keep it moving because, like I just kind of stay in the moment. So I think that kind of helps with me not really thinking about anything like that. But like eventually through working in 12-step processes and going through your emotions and going through your defects and going through and realizing these things upon self-reflection that were holding you back, like you won't think about it all day, every day. It won't be like that forever. It's just like it takes progress and time to work towards that. Cause like, honestly, like I see somebody drunk, sometimes I get pretty fucking repulsed. I smell it, it gags because I know what it does to me every time I put it in my fucking body. You know what I mean? But like Chris was saying, I won't forget the good times, right? My experience is what makes me who I am. So I still have plenty of good memories from when I was drinking and shit that I'd never forget. But then I have a lot of bad ones too. So, but like 5 years kind of lone gunning it by yourself, or 5 months kind of lone gunning it by yourself, that's like freaking mad props. Because unless I get
I
put in
got
a
you
jail cell to
guys.
start my, unless I get put in a jail cell to start my recovery, I'm not getting sober.
I got you guys. It's been a big support. And I keep my in my pocket all the time. I keep all four oh, camera's off. I keep all four chips for all 4 months. In about 9 days, I'm going to carry a fifth one everywhere with me so I can feel the weight of my recovery growing. I just keep those in my pocket all the time.
I used
It
to do the
helps.
same thing.
I got an old drinking buddy that I still go over and hang out with him because he's a friend of mine. And, I keep my chips in my pocket and fidget with them. And I haven't been too tempted to drink yet. I always
I used
think
to do
about
the
it,
same
but
thing.
I had a dream. I had a dream that I drank, and the biggest thing that bummed me out was how much time I threw. I was like, that was what I remember about the dream. Was like, oh fuck, now I got to start over again.
I early recovery. I had this dream. I didn't drink in the dream, right? But I had a fireball was my thing. I was
Oh,
at the
fucking
halfway I was
gross.
working at in the dream, and I had a double shot of fireball in the back pocket. And I remember I was just trying to like hide it from everybody. And then in the dream, I put it underneath my pillow, and I went to sleep. And then I woke up in real life, and like the bottle was gone. I'm like, oh, that was just a dream. And I'm like, to me, that was a sign like the obsession had been removed because I hadn't thought about it in so long. But like,
Yeah,
definitely my first year sober, I used to carry my medallion every year. And then I used to drill a hole in my medallions and wear it as a necklace until
I
this
want to
past
put it
year. Now
on
I
with
just,
my chain.
yeah, I'd put a drilled a hole in mine. I'd wear it on a ball chain necklace. And then now I just like, I got one in the car, got one in the bedroom. I just got them laying around. And then somebody I know gets them out of sobriety. And then I just give them my coin, pass them on. Here you go.
So I want to double back to where you started talking about the using dreams, right? Um, and that feeling of like, oh, holy shit, I just threw away the 5 months, right? Um, so one way that you can look at that is not like, oh man, in my subconscious, I want to use. Don't look at it like that. Look at it like even in my subconscious, I threw away 5 months and I felt something because of it. So even my subconscious is in recovery. You know what I mean? Um,
Good shit.
so yeah, just keep an angle on that too. Like even in your subconscious, while you're fucking sleeping, you know that you're in fucking recovery.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. You got to keep that perspective. You are
Yeah.
doing better now than you have been before. Even if you fuck
I'm
up,
honestly not.
huh?
I
It's
I'm
okay to suck
honestly
at it.
not, but it's been a long lineup for 2 years. Every month has been worse than the last. I'm getting better at handling it, but things just seem to kind of be getting worse.
You know, it, this goes back to just about everything else in life. You're gonna fuck up at things, but fucking up is your first step to being better at it. So, you know what? While you may be handling things bad in the moment, you won't handle them bad forever. It's gonna take a little bit for you to get used to how life is gonna be when you don't have the same coping mechanisms that you did in the past. Switching up to a new coping mechanism takes time and it sucks ass. It's not fun. But in time, once you learn to use all of the skills and all of the resources that are available for you, things get easier.
Yeah. Building a new neural pathway within your own mind of creating new memories, new feelings in your body, new way of interacting, a new way of being, creating a whole new you is going to be tough. So the fact that you've done it for 5 months and everyone else that has done it for longer and then some, like it doesn't always just get easy right away. Like we always have a hard time breaking bad habits, not resulting to those old things, those old habits, those old, paths we used to take to the liquor store. And every single day, when you create a new neural pathway in your mind by choosing a new healthy coping mechanism, you create a whole new you. You create a whole new perspective on life. And sure, that's scary. Change is scary, because your body is so used to doing the same old thing, even though you know it's bad for you, even though you know that's going to get you the same shitty outcome. It's comfortable, right? But when you take that leap of faith, some people call it, you're like creating this whole new you who's brave and who's conquering your fears and also allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to realize, hey, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do better. And then in that act of trying, you are being better. So you got to give yourself props every single day for not going back to the old you, because that old shit does not work anymore, you know?
Yeah, I'm so down with this. Like, this is the reality of what we have. You know, we have this support group here for you to lean on for what's going on in your life at the moment. You don't have to try to handle shit on your own. You don't have to develop the coping mechanisms by yourself when you have a resource group to help you when you are struggling. And that's the whole reason we exist. When you are struggling, reach out. Somebody will be around to be able to give you that helping hand when you don't think that you're able to anymore. And that's what we're all about. Anybody else got anything else to share before I end the recording? Dope. All right.